So here we are. There is Chuck. Read my license plate and report me to the police. Please don't. So we are going to march on up to the cabin. I'm going to take you guys through it. We're going to go check out the Criggs Falls. This is the creek that comes down from the falls. Like I said, I don't think there's a whole lot of water right now, but it's such a neat place to be able to come and explore. And here you can see it's just such a neat little mountain creek. So I think this is where she meant I was supposed to park, but it also it says event parking but no parking, so I'm not sure which one's true. I guess we just have to guess. But Armour Bordner, he was a school teacher at Northern Lebanon. I think he also taught at Lebanon High School, but he taught like, woodcraft and that type of stuff, carpentry and shop, I think would be the best way to talk about it. But he was an extraordinary man, and when they came through and they did all the eminent domain, he went up, to make a deal that he was able to stay in his home till he passed, and then it went over to the Boy Scouts, took it over, and they now maintain this. But Joan Litz is one of those individuals, one of the Lebanon County commissioners, who really works on making sure this place stays taken care of. So I just met my friends Andrew and Sarah. It was really cool to see them. I thought it was Andy. I was like, hey, he's like, you're the hometown historian. It's the third people, which they recognized me from knowing each other from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and their dog Obi, named after Obi-Wan, appropriately. But you just get to see like the masonry down here. It's phenomenal. This was built in I believe completed in 1938. Like my dad's cabin, that was completed in 1928, but it's in no way whatsoever like this. It has a really awesome fireplace, just like this place I want to show you. Ours was polished stone, but it's just, this is so neat. Armour did this all. I guess some of his students helped, his daughter helped. It took him about 2 years to complete this, but thankfully, this still exists. It exists because of the efforts of the Boy Scouts. It exists because of the efforts of someone like Joan Litz, our county commissioner here in Lebanon County. So you got to be thankful that a place like this, with so much history, so much beauty, he designed the place, he built the place, he did everything himself. So he was an extraordinary man, and he and my dad, Paul Miller, and there were several others, that they worked together to try to defeat the eminent domain. Unfortunately, they really were up against impossible odds and ultimately lost. But my dad was fortunate. His home was in Greenpoint, so he didn't have to necessarily worry about losing his home. But all these other people that were in this area and all these small towns that lost their homes, it's just such a shame. But so let's go up the stairs here in a second. I'm gonna quick sneak by here. There's several ways to enter. We're going to enter back here. Seems like there might be some people in here that get a nice look at the falls this way. I'd like to go out there as well, just to be able to hear the falls. There you can see up through. We'll close the camera in here a little bit. You can see some of the falls up higher. There isn't a whole lot, unfortunately, of water. And Andy was talking about, you used to be able to go across to one place and you get your feet wet. And there's just, it's because of the dry spell, it is what it is. So, You just look at the craftsmanship. This is just amazing. And just look at the logs here, how beautiful it is.
How old is that?
Here's the fireplace. We'll get a better look at it here. Here you can actually get a picture. Try to get the reflections on there. You can sort of see what it looked like, because they have pictures at some of these rooms what they would have looked like. I want to show you guys that. It's just stunning. They took the windows out because of vandalism. I guess they figured if you took them out, there's going to be a lot. So this was the kitchen here, and it's one of those amazing old stoves. Yeah, because you can see here, there's where the stovepipe would have went in. That's just amazing. I'm just thankful this time we're actually going to get to go around.
They asked the rescue to come pick them up. So she came in with a litter of 5 females. It's just a little bit nicer. I mean, like we actually get golden sand all the time. We get Bernedoodle sand. We get golden doodle sand. We got corgi sand recently. We actually just got a Great Dane in. That's 4 months old.
No, I want to use pictures.
We get a lot of dinos.
Right.
This place really had to be stunning when it was lived in and had the furniture. I mean, just look at this. That's amazing. The whole furniture is just nuts. Look at how beautiful that is. I just love like the wood, how it's just, look at that. It's beautiful. There's no pictures in here, but you get to see, once again, you get to see how you can look out, just look right down his road, and just how beautiful. This would be such an amazing place to live in.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Angels Retreat.
There's just a little, and here you have Bordner Cabin Restoration Project. There you see www.Swatara Watershed Project. And then you'll see that's Joan Litz right there. She's our county commissioner. She really is one that heads this up. Phenomenal lady. We're going to go upstairs, but we're going to check out this room first. Just got to make sure I'm not tripping, because I don't want to do that. I just, the smell of this place is phenomenal. I wish I could translate that. You get my smells too, but I did take a shower today. And here, once again, you get to see it when it had its windows in, and just how pretty this place was, still is. Here you can see over to the rest of the house here. And we'll go upstairs, and then we'll quick go out to the falls. I think I'm going to do a YouTube short there so people can hear the falls and enjoy the sounds of nature. Look at these posts. Look at that. That is amazing. Like, that's a regular handrail, but just that right there, that's all fashioned by hand. I just love this aspect of it too, because you sort of have the balcony. Forgive me for my, look at the steps too, how cool that is. Here's, you can see what it originally looked like here. Original railings and everything that would have been here. Just neat how all the stuff, there's an old sewing table. Just neat. Okay. Sorry about this being positioned down. It's just not easy for me to do steps, and my left shoulder's not happy right now. But you can see how you just look across the entire High ceilings, just beautiful. And up here, I would assume would have been probably the main bedroom or a bedroom. It just has, once again, it has that wood smell. Look at the panels, the floors, just so neat. And you can look out these upper windows. See back down there to the DCNR truck. Very, very cool. I am going to turn the camera off for a second while I go down the stairs. Hey. There you have Armour Bordner. November 1st, 1904 to November 20th, 1994.
Yep, no, I agree. It's just like, there's the idea that
And there's Armour Bordner with his dog, his puppy, right there at the falls. So I want to read a little bit to you. This is off of a Lebanon Daily News article that they did specifically on him, where he talks about the cabin and when he did it. So they asked, how did he ever find such a secluded spot? And we wanted to build a weekend shack in the mountain, which was his original plan, not making an actual home out there. And he spent 2.5 years actually building this. He was a retired woodshop teacher at Northern Lebanon School District. He and his wife Peg and their daughter Linda reportedly started this work with his students using hand-used materials on the site, logs and stone. They started this project, and then once again, it took 2.5 years. Now, where did the term Akrig's Falls come from? Well, apparently on one of the stones there, it was inscribed. It was in memory of the Colonel Benjamin, so he named it Akrig's Falls. And he was a chief engineer of the Old Union Canal, which is where that came from. So he was first to admit that the building of the home was a lot of hard work and that he probably would never go through it again. But then maybe the agony is worth it just to enjoy the ecstasy of Bordner's tranquil wilderness. After all, how many people fell asleep to the sound of water cascading down the mountain? How many people are awakened by the chopping of a woodpecker looking for shelter or have chickadees eating out of their hands? Now, in the 1970s, when this whole Swatara Dam project came through, he was once again part of this resistance to that happening, ultimately losing out. Now, he was awarded a lease that allowed him to stay in the cabin for a nominal annual rental until he died. Now, upon his death, the Boy Scouts then rented it for about $1 a year, and then they eventually turned the lease back to the state park. Now, Swatara Creek Watershed Association then successfully petitioned Governor Rendell, Senator Brightbill, and the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for that, taking over that lease. And since then, with the efforts of Joe Ellen Litz and a number of other folks, they have preserved this cabin. And, Armour Bordner was an extraordinary guy. Like, he did everything with this cabin, from the architecture of it, designing it, and then the building of it. And, of course, he had help, but it's just such a project. And thankfully, this place still exists for us to enjoy to this very day. So I want to read this sign for you because it has to do with the history of the Armour Bordner Cabin. We all have a sentimental attachment as well as a respect for the pioneering endeavor and last stand effort against eminent domain made by Armour Bordner. And like I had said before, my dad helped with that effort. There were quite a few other individuals that used to meet at Armour Bordner's cabin to discuss what the next approach would be to take on this basically impossible task. And it talks about Todd Turpin provided copies of the original blueprints for the Armour Bordner cabin. He designed it himself. And they had a number of those pictures that are up throughout the buildings. A couple of different people provided those. So the Bordner Cabin is currently a point of interest on both the Heritage and Swatara water trails. A place for artists to paint nature, a rest stop, a picnic pavilion, a platform for people to sit and gaze at the falls, and finally an interpretive site. Pennsylvania timber products were used to build the cabin. In fact, Armour used lumber and stone found on site. Using the criteria of workmanship, engineering, location, and age, in 2009, this site will qualify for the National Register of Historic Places. Local history is important to us. All state and National Historic Registers start with local history. Therefore, SCWA is pleased to have played a small part in preserving this cabin. Now, I don't think this cabin is actually on the historic registry of historic places, but they are attempting, and that way it winds out having protections beyond what it has at this point. But it's just a really special place, and like I said, the name that it's given is sort of the falling water of the eastern Pennsylvania. Bit of a stretch probably to compare in any way to falling water, but this is a beautiful and gorgeous place. I have a number of friends. It's one of their favorite places in the world, and it really is one of mine. And I know Cliff, the Wandering Woodsman, as well.
Oh my gosh,
Like Jurassic Park.
it's so cool. And then all of a sudden you can start to hear like this, the water running, and you go down this thing, and lo and behold, there it is. Now it's not like it's real high or anything, but it's really cool.
Pretty cool. I'm
You
sure
really got to pay attention going in and coming out, because we got lost coming out. I mean, we found our way out to the road.
There we are. You can look straight up the falls. You can see the wheels here that we have. How neat this is. And this is called Eight Creeks Falls. It's actually named after, I think, the main engineer of the Union Canal. And very, very neat. It's very peaceful, very beautiful, lovely breeze. It's extraordinary. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for coming along and checking out the Armour Bordner Cabin here in Eight Creeks Falls. And just such a neat place. Like I said, they call it sort of the falling water of eastern Pennsylvania. You know, a little bit of an overstatement, true, but because falling water is just magical. But this is just truly phenomenal. It's a shame when the waterfall and the creek is really, really gone. It's even more stunning. It's just an extraordinary place out here in Swatara State Park, and it's one of the hidden gems of Lebanon County and central Pennsylvania. So come out, give it a check out. Thanks, everybody, and as always, we will see you all about town. So just in case you want, this has the website of Swatara Watershed, and to volunteer or support the efforts to continue their good work that they're doing here with the restoration project, and just in general what they do with DCNR for the Swatara Creek area for the future for everyone to enjoy.